Hi, this is Pam with ROC Metaphysical. We're doing another YouTube or Zoom interview with one of my contributing writers. So, just as a bit of information, the magazine is online only, and it's called ROC, ROC Metaphysical.com, all one word. And the beginning of each month, new articles come out, and there's information about classes, either in person or in Zoom, um, event information, all kinds of things. And each month I never know who's going to be contributing. So it's always kind of a surprise as to what I may have in my inbox to post for the new year. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And today we're going to talk to Doreen, who used to live in New York and Rochester, where I come from, and she did too. But she spends most of her time in Florida, but does come back to New York State as needed when the call goes out to come back. So she comes back to do tarot readings, and I'll put a little shout out about the Ren Fair that I'm assuming it's a go. Sterling Renaissance Fair is held kind of near Oswego, New York, and there's a gypsy camp, and you're one of the tarot readers for the gypsy camp. So if anybody sees this and wants to know about the Ren Fair, they should see you, because you're one of the well-versed tarot readers. And so you're in Florida, and we were talking about you work in a store. So what do you want to say the store name and its location?
Sure. The store I'm working at now is called Christie's Enchanted Notions, and it's right on Central Avenue in St. Petersburg, Florida.
All right, and so you're there a couple days a week doing tarot readings.
I am.
Yes, and I know you use one deck, well, two. You used to have one deck you had for a very long time, and it was very well worn. And the other deck you use is Light Seers, I think, is the one that I see, because Doreen is a tarot, let's see, how should I say? You do tarot for the month for the magazine, and you draw however many cards, I guess, you feel you need to pull, and then you do a write-up to say what the cards mean, and paint hopefully mostly a good picture, or a focus on what we should be doing for the month to make sure we're all on the right path. So talk to me about your tarot background. How long have you been doing it, and did you take any classes?
Okay. I actually have been doing tarot professionally for about 23, 24 years now.
Oh, is that all?
That's all. I actually started in Rochester. I took a class at the then Psychic's Time, and learned tarot with no intention of ever doing this professionally. It was just something fun to do. And so I started there and did it on my own for a while. And I used to go and get readings myself from other people. And lo and behold, one of the readers that I got a reading for said, you should be doing this, right? And I'm like, no. So I actually started reading out of her store for a very short period of time before she actually closed her store. And then when she did close the store, I went back to Psychic's Time, where I had learned originally, and asked Charlene if she was looking for any more readers. And she said yes. And 14 years later, I worked there for 14 years doing my tarot readings. I also did massage therapy out of there when I was doing my massage work. So a combination of my healing work as well as doing my readings through there for 14 years.
Well, and so I'd make a comment. It seems to me that everybody I know that is a massage therapy person or does healing work, that it's the interaction with the people and the energy that intuition kind of comes in with that, you know, you're coming into other people's energy fields, and it just seems to me that everybody I talk to that has done massages said, oh, you know, I would get, you know, a picture or a feeling or just a knowing about the person while they were working with them, and would sometimes, depending, share, or if the person was open to it, or they felt they were there for a massage and they didn't want to say anything because they may not have accepted that it was positive information, but still, you know, they didn't want to breach that trust of they were just there for a massage. So I think that's kind of interesting when I hear about that from people. And so my question is, I mean, tarot, I've played with it, dabbled with it, and I'm trying to always understand when you pick the cards, they're really about the right now. Because if I'm right, and we can talk about this, because if I did it 5 minutes later, of course I'm going to get different cards.
Not always, but very possibly, yes.
Right. So help me understand that, because I think that's a question a lot of people have, like, you know, you put the cards out for me now, you know, and it applies, I would assume, like now, because, you know, you could walk out of the store or the reading, you know, and you could buy a lottery ticket and become a millionaire. And so the reading may or may not remain because you have free will and you've done something that changed your life, you know, and so the tarot reading may or may not still apply if I'm right. So talk to me about it.
Okay, and I've had people question me on this very same thing over the years. And the thing with tarot, it is based on where your energy is at the moment when you're getting the reading, okay? Or your general tendency, okay? Interestingly, a person that I don't know can come in and get a reading, and I can work into working with their energy at that time to know what I see. So when I do tarot, it's not just reading a card and what the symbolism is on the card. I also am guided by my spirit guides to use my intuition to get an interpretation. So yes, it is based on the current information or the current vibration that you're vibrating at now. So free will can be involved in changing that. The advantage of getting a reading now that leads into the future is that you can see how things may trend, okay, based on where you are now. It's funny because when people say, don't tell me anything negative, I'm like, well, if I show you something that's in the works for you now based on where you are now, but it's not a positive thing, that's where your free will can come in and say, okay, this may still happen. It still may happen, but you will be better prepared for it. So I still feel like a lot of the things happen. It's just that you may be in a different perspective to perceive them depending on where your life has taken you.
Right. And so, you know, I've had multiple tarot readings. And so when you get like the Joker or the Tower, you know, it's about change or something's going to happen. But if we're really working on ourselves, even a challenge should be something that you can focus on and find answers to, and use it as a learning tool.
Exactly. Right. And like I said, they may still happen, but if the more prepared you are for it, the less impact it might have on your life.
Right. And, you know, the Tower, it's just like, you know, and sometimes it just means like things are getting cleared away, like they're, you know, getting out of your way so that, you know, you can move forward. So
I always look at the Tower card as a major lifestyle change. And depending on what happens on the other side of it, it can be a good or a negative change, or an impact that's difficult. But a lot of times the tower represents the universe kind of stepping in to facilitate the changes in your life that you have put off. And generally those changes are to get you where you're supposed to be, as opposed to not. So while they may be disruptive while you're going through them, generally what it's doing is facilitating you getting where you're supposed to be on your path anyway. But
Right.
sometimes we kind of interfere with our own universal plan and stall or don't make decisions. And the universe generally will poke us and say, hello, pay attention. And if you don't pay attention, they're going to poke harder. Okay. So that's where you get the subtle hints about things maybe you should make a different decision about. And then you're going to get the death card, which is that voluntary change kind of situation. And if you don't pay attention, here comes the 2x4, and you're going to get hit upside the head. So that's what the tower represents, is usually moving us beyond our stubbornness to where we're supposed to go anyway.
So, and another thing, and I've talked to people about, is the ethics of a quality reader, whether it's tarot cards, a psychic reading, a mediumship reading, that a quality reader is going to provide information in a way that you can use the information to move forward, to understand that change is coming, but they're not going to say, to be blunt, oh, you're going to die. Like, a good ethical reader is not going to just blurt out, oh, you're going to die tomorrow, oh, you're going to get sick and it's going to be terrible. If someone did that, in my personal opinion, I don't think they're serving in a way that is positive and helping people move forward. I mean, if you did see something, and because I know you, I think you would make very gentle suggestions like, I see that, you should probably take care of yourself better. And have you been, doing all your right medical things, like, your annual exam and that kind of thing? I mean, I think you agree with that.
Well, ethics are something that was kind of instilled in me very early in this process, okay? And making sure that, first of all, you're not giving people information that they don't ask for, okay? Just like, that's why I kind of have issue with people like the Long Island medium, who portrays herself as going up to these strangers and saying, can I give you a message because your uncle is here? That is not something that I would ever do, okay? I feel like we need to be asked. People need to be in the right frame of mind to come to us, to ask us for that, because it kind of opens the door then. But when it comes to things like death, first of all, people will sit down and say, don't tell me when I'm going to die. They'll tell you right off. Okay. I'm like, okay, so we won't go there. But actually, I think in all the years that I've been doing this, I've actually only seen the death card represent physical death maybe 2 or 3 times. Because it's not always about death. It's about transformation. It's about making change. Okay. So it's not always death. Now, I did have a lady the other day actually ask me, when am I going to die? So it was like, okay. I'm also a believer in, if I see something in my cards that leads me to believe that that's a message I need to deliver. Okay. So yes, like you said, I may kind of be a little bit less direct about it. I may suggest things like that, but I have had people that come in and ask about loved ones, especially elderly loved ones. When can I expect that this will happen. And I will go there with that. But the way I approach it is when I see generally the death card or the tower card in those situations, I will convey to them that your person has the opportunity to make that decision to cross over at this particular time. It is totally up to them and their arrangement with whoever to actually make that. But there are times when we are given the opportunity to cross over and go to the other side. Um, and so I can see those things sometimes. And I will say that there will be a time in 6 months that your loved one will have that opportunity to cross. Depends on how much they want to fight it, how much they want to stay, how much they still feel they need to accomplish. So
Yeah.
I will go there, but only generally if I'm asked.
Okay. So I would say if I was, a newbie and wanted to get a reading, that these are questions you should ask before you get into the reading. Like what I would like to know, how much information I want to receive, and if they want that specific information from you or anyone, that there should be discussion about that. So you know the boundaries of the reading, I guess, is the answer that I'm looking for, so that it's a good reading for both people. Like the person that comes to you isn't going to walk away and go, well, she told me things I didn't want to know, and it was terrible and whatever. So it's really like, I guess to say, a working relationship,
It definitely is. And I like to have people, regardless of the information that I give them, I like to have them all walk away and say, that was a good reading. She told me some stuff maybe I didn't want to hear or I really wasn't expecting, but that doesn't necessarily make it a bad reading either. It, at the very least, can get them prepared for some things that are going to be coming for them. But if you are someone that doesn't want that kind of information, by all means, express that so that the reader knows that, we're just not going to go there.
Right. It's just like when you get any service, I tell, I know when I get my nails done, I like them cut short. I like certain colors. So, I don't want my manicure to look like, I stuck my fingers in a bucket of paint.
Right. But the thing with working with this, though, is I have two parties to satisfy. Okay. I have the client that I definitely want to be satisfied, but I have my or their spirit guides also that kind of play a part in this. So if there is a message that comes through, anyone that's gotten a reading from me knows I can be pretty direct. But at the same time, I get a good enough sense generally of the person and how much they can handle. So I will, especially if it's somebody I've never read before, I may kind of tippy-toe through it a little bit to see where we're going to go with this. But I've been known to be a reader, and I don't know if other people, and I don't think she'll mind if I mention her name. I don't know if people that know Jenna in Rochester, her and I have worked together for many years, both at the shop and at events and things. And she had told me one time, she said, you and I can have the exact same reading, the exact same cards laid out, and I will give the negative aspect of it, and Doreen, you always give the positive. So it's not that I try to change the meaning of things, but for some reason I'm able to see more of the positive aspects of the cards and be able to present the message in a way that can be heard.
Okay, so I think, to kind of sum that up, is like, know what you would like, to have a discussion with the reader before you, fully sit down and pay. And then, and I guess if there's questions like they don't understand, I've had readings where I wasn't really sure what you meant. So either they would pull another card or they would go kind of deeper so that I could understand, what the card was representing.
Exactly. I tell people that when they sit down, if you have any questions or you need any further, explanation of this, please let me know. So,
Right. So I think, there's a little bit of, involvement from the person that wants the reading,
that is so helpful. And it's so helpful to get feedback during a reading. I have had people that have sat there straight face, no reaction, no interaction at all. And it's like, am I hitting? Am I not? Am I close? Am I, and I get nothing. And some of them will walk out and I still won't know if I hit anything on point. Or there'll be other people that are like that and say, that's exactly what I needed to hear. That's exactly what I wanted to know. And it's really helpful when dealing with a reader to give some kind of acknowledgement, yes or no. Are you close? Are you not? The thing with the majority of the general readings that I do, start now and move forward for the next 6 months. Okay, so I often ask people, give it a chance to play out too. Don't say, there'll be so many people that will say, no, that's not true, but it hasn't happened yet. So it's like, give it some time, see what happens, see how your life goes. Then if you want to come back and say none of that happened, that's fine. But I don't want to say 9 out of 10 times, but the majority of times that I hear back from people, they'll come back and say it happened just like you said it was gonna. And that for me is great confirmation that I'm doing good things. But it's really helpful during a reading to have some kind of interaction with the person that's reading for you so that they know if they're hitting on points that mean something to you.
Right. And so just as a step back too is, all tarot card readers do it differently, but I think we should talk, just for a newbie that may see this, what is a spirit guide for you?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I know I have Native American spirit guides. I have people that watch over me. I have people that protect me, spirits that protect me. Do I know exactly who they are? No. Some people can tell you the name of their spirit guide. They can tell you, exactly what they say. My gift, I suppose, is more clairsentient or it's not clairaudient. Okay, so I don't know if anyone's familiar with the clairs. There's clairaudient, which means you hear spirit talking. There's clairvoyant, which means you actually see spirit. There's clairsentient, which means that you can smell or you can hear or you can sense that they're around. They give you a sense of their being. And there's other ones too, but I can't remember what they are. I don't see them physically in front of me. I can see them through my third eye occasionally. That usually happens more with spirits or loved ones kind of people that I see more so than, or like if I'm doing a seance, sometimes I can see and tell you what they're wearing and tell you their appearance, but I don't actually see them standing in front of me. I don't hear them directly either. People like Christopher hears the voices. I don't hear the voices. Everything is kind of sent to me and it kind of channels in and comes out this way. So it's not something that I hear. It's not something that I see. It's just kind of like it just comes. Okay, so it just becomes my thoughts, and it's not their thoughts or it's not their words. Their words become my words, and so forth. So I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how I do this. I don't know. I just believe, and the longer I've done it, it's kind of like learning how to play the piano, I guess. The more you practice it, the easier it comes. But I also have a very trusting understanding with my spirit guides that they're going to give me what I need. And they don't abuse that. So it's just a working relationship that just kind of flows.
Yep. And so, and all tarot card readers are different, and they may want to hold your hand beforehand. They may want to have you touch the cards. Some don't want you to touch the cards. They like to, kind of create a space for the reading to happen. So it's, from what I've seen, everybody's different, and everybody uses like a different deck or multiple decks.
Yep.
Sometimes they use crystals, and there's animal bone readings that may become part of that, or trinkets. They have representation. So it's very interesting, and I think people are getting more creative in the tarot reading, so that they become a little different, so not everybody's the same. So now, did you want to pull some cards?
I can. Would you like to put forth a question?
Well, I don't know if you're going to tie this to your article or you want to just do, like the new year, like in general, like 2023.
First of all, I'd like to say that over the last 2 to 3 months, the readings that I've been doing have shown really big positive changes coming for 2023 for many people. It's just a matter of when you get on board that train, okay? I'm very excited and very impressed by the trend that has been shown in a lot of the readings. Some people, things have already started going well for them. Other people, have to wait till the new year. Another group of people are starting in the spring. And generally my readings go 6 months. So up to May and June, I feel like the positive influence that is going to be coming for people in the first 6 months of 2023 has the potential to be phenomenal. So whenever you decide to get on that train, I would definitely jump on.
Yeah, I did another interview, and this whole Capricorn happening with the beginning of the new year, she feels that it is ginormous.
Yeah, it's like to me, it feels like a complete reversal of what we've been dealing with. Yes, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, and it's happening. I would say 95% of the readings that I do, I'm seeing it in. So it's big, and it's interesting because the same kind of trend that I am feeling here just before COVID hit. Okay, so COVID hit in February primarily of 2020 or 2020. And in the previous October, November, and if anyone has gotten a reading for me in that time period, you'll know I kept saying there's something big that's coming. There's something big that's coming. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it's going, but it's going to affect a lot of people. I had no clue that it was going to be a worldwide thing, but I could see it. It's that same kind of trend that I'm seeing now. But it kept saying it was going to affect a lot of people. It's going to make things very different, and this is going to happen. And I kept seeing it and seeing it and seeing it coming up in readings. Well, it's the same kind of thing that's happening this way, but it's a positive wave. So if you give the universe enough time, it will bring everything back into balance. So with everything that was thrown off with COVID and the whole pandemic, I feel like it's coming back in a real positive way in 2023.
All right. So you're going to pull cards for like generally what's happening for New Year?
Sure. Oh, they're jumping out here. Hold on. All right, we got to put that one out there. So the first card I picked, or it picked itself, it jumped out, is the Emperor. And the Emperor is all about being in a position to use your wisdom to know how to move forward. Okay, if you think about Solomon, King Solomon, and how he had to use his wisdom, particularly with the scenario of the two mothers and the baby that, they both claimed that this was their child. And his wisdom was, okay, cut the child in half and you can each have half. And the real mother, of course, was not going to do that. Okay, so she gave up her child just to save it. That's the same kind of wisdom that it's asking you to have, is not doing things out of pride or ego, but making your decisions that will have the best positive impact on all involved. Okay. The next card is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is all about tradition. It's all about knowing what is worth carrying forward and perhaps what is worth challenging. So I feel like, both being major arcana cards, this is again the universe saying, okay, you need to get on board with this because something's happening. So the Hierophant card is all about paying attention to the traditions, paying attention to the standards that are in place, and making sure that you're applying them in a way that is just and fair. And then I have the Nine of Cups, which is all about celebrating and partying. Okay, so I do feel like there is going to be some really positive things to celebrate in 2023. So I'm all for that. The next card is the Knight of Coins. Oh, the Knight of Coins is all about hard work. So good things don't necessarily come without some effort. So it's saying that you may be required to put in some effort and to make these changes occur. Then I have the Sun. The Sun card is all about staying positive. It's all about spreading the good word. It's all about not keeping these positive things just to yourself, but doing what you can to help others in the process. And then I have the Three of Coins. So the Three of Coins is all about paying attention to detail, doing what you can do to make things better instead of turning things around and making things more difficult. So it's definitely a year of finding what works for you, but also doing what you can do to help other people progress as well.
Right. That sounds exciting.
It does. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about 2023. I just think there's a lot of really good things happening. And this is definitely the year, if you wanted to start something new, this is definitely the year to put that together, because I feel like change is definitely something that is kind of in the cards, if you want to say. But I feel like everyone is going to step up. If they have the interest, they're going to step up to the next level of who they are in 2023.
All right.
Yeah, it's exciting. So I think you're going to see a lot of new businesses start this year. I think that you're going to see a lot of people pushing themselves a little harder to achieve the goals that they've set for themselves. And I just think this is a time of we've had so much time to think about things because we've been locked in and everything. This is the time of bringing things into fruition.
Yay. All right. So anything else to, end this interview?
Well, like you said, I probably will be coming up to Rochester again for Ren Fair this summer. Probably only for like bookend weekends this time though. So I also do readings online. So just because I'm here doesn't mean I'm not. I did a reading this morning for a lady from Rochester. So I'm still working with my clientele from up there. If anyone's interested in contacting me to have a reading, I'd be more than happy to schedule that for you. You can shoot me a text. My number is 585-615-8494, and we can set that up.
And you also have your Facebook page.
I do. I do. Texting is usually the best way to get me, though, just because that's what I look at all the time.
Well, I know, but you offer specials. And
I do. I do. I actually do have a special going right now. For 2023, I'm offering $23 off a reading between now and the 5th of January. So
they could just Google or go on Facebook and look for Doreen. And I know I spelled your name wrong once.
It's Scanlan, Scanlan.
Right. So find her on Facebook, and you can reach her that way also by messaging through Facebook.
Yep.
And check out the specials and whatever you're offering. And then,
if those prices are too much, I do have a Groupon out there too. If you want to go on Groupon, you can find me there too.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we've covered everything that I think were my questions. And I guess if people have questions, you'd be a good resource. So like if they want to understand tarot differently or, want to understand something. But I just want to tie it up as maybe get a referral, like, find out who you're working with, just like if you were, purchasing a car, you'd find out about the dealership and how the people operate there. Because I have heard people talk about, the reading wasn't good. And I think there's a lot of people that love tarot and they're in all different stages of understanding, and so know how well-rounded your person is. I mean, there's people out there that, they will say, oh, I'm using the book while I'm doing this, and that's good. I mean, they're putting themselves out there. And
it is, but I was taught when I was learning, throw the book away and get to know your cards. Get to form a relationship with your cards. And then if you want to go back and make a reference to the book, that's fine. But
Right. But I mean, I give them credit for putting themselves out there.
Yeah, definitely. It takes a lot of courage to do it. So, and we all learn at different rates. And, like I said, I've been doing this since 2001 now, at least professionally. So, it's I've seen a lot of people come and go. I've seen a lot of people that I've had people read for me that I have no clue of what they're talking about. But then again, I might be difficult to read. So you just have to feel it out for yourself and find somebody that you like.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to end this, and I thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. So I'm going to hit the stop button so this can be the end. So we'll wave. All right. Bye.